Welcome to another episode of Redesigning Your Relationships podcast. I am your host, Giovanna Burgess White, with my co-host.
Hello, I'm Isabel Negro.
And if you're just watching us live for the first time, thank you so much for watching us. If you're watching the replay, we're so excited that you're here. And if you're listening to us on all of our podcast platforms, thank you for listening. Today we have a fun episode. We have a fun episode every week, but today we have a fun episode because it's fresh on our mind. And we just had an amazing evening with our community here in Houston. And so we just kind of wanted to talk about community boundaries and why it's so hard for us to turn off the work switch. It was I feel like we did a great job, and we're going to explain to everybody what we did last night. But having the conversation about not talking about work, people were like, oh, what do I talk about? What am I supposed to talk about? So let's kind of let's paint the picture of last night. What we did, we'll talk about Ignite. We'll talk about this amazing community of women that we have started here in Houston, and then go from there.
Okay, so the beautiful women that were there last night were either guests or a part of the Ignite Her Society community, our tribe, as we call it here in Houston, because we all follow on a wonderful app and a platform that daily gives us really encouragement, and you have the availability to get on there and do all kinds of amazing things and work on yourself, which is the main thing. But obviously, we're all there because we're entrepreneurs or working women or just really want to work on themselves. We decided to meet downtown. We were wonderfully blessed by the Palm Restaurant, who gave us actually a nice Prosecco. Actually, I thought it was just going to be one app, but they did this nice spread for us because there was going to be up to 12 of us. And we lingered and talked so much that we graciously asked if we could move to a big table so all of us could sit. And they were very nice and provided, it's a wonderful space. Honestly, if anybody in the business community is looking for something for a small group, they do have one room that has visuals, so you can do TV presentations. It was very quiet. They have wonderful rooms and would be a great resource for anybody listening. But we sat there. You gave us a task. You came up with it. Even though this is a networking entrepreneurial woman thing, you were like, we are not going to talk about anything to do with work. And that was the first part of our journey. For some people, I think it was very easy. Let's just talk. For others, it was what? What am I going to talk about then? So
it was also not about work. It wasn't talking about your spouses, your children. It was nothing but talking about you. That's all I wanted the night to be. And I think people were like, okay, we'll come back to me, or like starting to think about like, what do I want to talk about? So I just thought how it's so crazy how when we go network and we go meet, and you and I both network in business settings, and then we also network in non-business settings. The very first thing people talk about is, hi, I'm Giovanna, and I'm a relationship coach, and this is what I do, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, we identify with our job, our career, our work. And I don't think we ever have a time to really just be like, who are you? Like, who's Yvette? Who's Giovanna? Who are we? What do we want to do? What do we like? What do we dream of? And I think that was really hard for the women last night. There were a few that were like, oh, this will be fun. But especially for guests that were new, like that's like the first thing when you go introduce yourself to someone is, hi, this is my name. This is what I do. What do you do? So I enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun.
I think it was great. It was so funny. And I know this is kind of off topic, but in my head, I'm like, it's kind of like speed dating from what I've heard. I've never done it, but same thing. Hi, I'm Yvette Beldenegro. I'm na. And then you're on to the next instead of like, who are you?
Yeah.
What would be more interesting about you that I would go, I'd really like to get to know you as a person. Same thing with work, with our careers. I mean, you're not just getting to know like, what can you do for me, which is really a horrible way to look at things, because it's about what can me, Yvette, do to serve the person I'm talking to. Well, how do you serve the person you're talking to if you don't even know who they are?
Yep, 100%. Which we're going to do a whole series on networking, and everybody's been asking for that. They've been asking for networking workshops. But it is what we're doing here in Houston. And for those of you guys who don't know what the Ignite Her Society platform is, Yvette did explain a little bit, but it is a growth and development platform for women in all seasons in their life. It's the very first platform really that it doesn't matter what you do, if you work, if you don't work, it's about women and what do they really want, and teaching them how to co-create life, how to design a life with purpose, and really to start dreaming and living a life that they're meant to live. And I think as women, we don't have a place for that. It doesn't feel natural. Very far and few women like to talk about themselves, like to talk about, again, their future goals, their goals now, even like celebrating small wins. I think all women always go to, oh, well, I'm not doing good at this. I'm not here. I don't want to talk about myself. Like they're almost like embarrassed. And it's like, this is why you and I do what we do. And it's become hybrid because we have a chapter. I know there's a chapter up where Julie is in New York, and that's what makes it great. We invite women every single month. We have an event. We invite women to come and just talk about them, be them, and like really grow. I think that's the main thing about our community is we're here to help you grow, and it doesn't matter where the growth is in your life and in the relationship with yourself, which this is why we love what we do, because we're relationship coaches. So I really think that even though we've been doing this since February, there was something about last night that just like it finally clicked. Like we don't need to be coming in and talking about work or talking about the things that didn't go well, or I'm upset with my husband or the kids are driving me insane. It's like, no, this is my time. Let's talk about me. Mm-hmm. I want more of that. I feel like everybody left last night going like, wow, we all needed that. Like we all needed that in a different way.
Refreshing.
Mm-hmm.
No, yeah. And I think to say more what you said, there's shame, I think, when people feel like they're not doing enough, because they're like, well, I'm comparing myself to someone else. Well, look what she's doing, but I think there's also shame. We're taught to not give ourselves like a pat on the back, and we're taught to not really say it. Like if you really said, well, how's it going? Oh my gosh, it's going amazing. When you say that, it sounds like I'm not trying to be cool and I'm not trying to act like I know everything, but it's really going well. Like, why would I not want to say that? But there's something inside of you that says, now you probably sounds braggadocious, or that you're being egotistical, or like you think you're cooler than the next person. No, but we're literally taught to say, like, to kind of dumb it down.
Yep.
And not be truthful about whether it's truthful, like, you know what, it's horrible right now. Like, it's so frustrating to me. That's real. Versus, oh my gosh, it's amazing. Well, what makes it amazing? Because whatever is making it amazing for you could really maybe help the person next to you, instead of looking at like, well, they're just going to think I'm bragging about how great everything is.
Yep. And I think it's important for, women and men, we've talked about this too, to find that tribe, to find that community. And there's different ones. I mean, I think with social media, you can find anything, but this is, again, not that we're bragging and not that but this is different. This is a movement that we're part of. It's something that we want women to be able to have a place to come and talk about themselves, to grow and to learn from one another. And I also just love the fact that everybody was just truly listening to everyone last night, and the conversations were so real. And it just, again, that just fills my cup, and it makes me realize, like, not only do I get to love what I do for work, but I also get to do what I love outside of work. And that, to me, although it's considered networking, it's more of just the passion that I have for watching other women grow and supporting other women and telling them it's okay to come and just do you. And if you don't know what that is, there's a lot of women out there that don't know what that is. That's why we have the platform. So, Ignite Her Society has always been our sponsor for our show. If you guys want more information about that, reach out to us. It's an all-in-one platform. You can get as much as you want from it, or as little as just daily messaging and, a monthly workshop. But all it is self-growth and development for what you need in your life. So we just wanted to come on and bring this episode just because we're living it, we're feeling it, we're vibing from last night. Those of you guys who know me, I hate driving. So I did like an hour in town and an hour back. So it's like a road trip, but on the way back home, I couldn't stop smiling. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. I want to talk about this tomorrow, because it's, again, like seeing I think there was 12 of us last night, all completely different seasons. Some people we had never met. Some people were brand new. Some people we've known for a long time. And it's just that mutual respect and that mutual, like, just that environment that we're creating for women to just come. I mean, people that didn't even know us. And it was just so great to hear their stories and backgrounds. And we we got to even have your daughter there, which was so special for both of us, and hear her story and her growth. And I think it's great. I don't think there's anything out there where you can have somebody who's 21 to 65 be in the same room and talk about things and, leave with all of us. We're like, oh my God, we closed it down. I'm like, we're leaving.
We closed the restaurant down. That was really good. And, that whole turning off work idea is hard. And I know for both of us who came from a total different industry that you worked all weekend long, it is weird. I don't know if weird. It's refreshing. It's refreshing now to know that we have planned our calendars, what we're doing, to allow for time off, to allow for nights like last night, to allow for rest and relaxation for your brain in a whole different way. And not to put anybody on the spot, but there were a couple of people who had said they hadn't been out for so long. And I was like, what? But I'm like, well, but I'm so glad you're here, because look at the benefit that they receive from just getting out and looking at a different place, or coming into the city, or just meeting new people. And crazy enough, one of those people were one of the ones that was there until the end, really enjoying her time. So it's really great. And, we love our stats. So I looked up, Italy is the number one country in the world that does a good job of the work-life balance, because only 3% of the people in that country work more than 50 hours a week. Wow. Could you imagine? It's like complete opposite of here, where we're in the United States, we're 29th on the whole list of countries, because obviously, I don't have to tell anybody, I'd say I feel like mostly everyone works more than 50 hours a week, which is crazy.
Ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
And then we wonder why we're the most stressed out, overworked, unhealthy country, our relationships, because they literally said in the statistics that I was looking at, that the most effective part of that is that you're affecting everything at home, because it's usually not home that's taking away hours from work. It's work that's taking away hours from home.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Which is why we created the rebalance part of our business. We've been talking about this for like almost half a year now. It's crazy how that was kind of birthed from us seeing that all of the women in our lives, in our relationships, are just overworked, overstressed, burnt out. And we're like, what can we do to help? And again, the relationship in any one of our parts of our businesses starts with yourself, but it's really having that balance. And we really are changing the game, and we're creating life work balance. So for those of you guys who have been to our classes and seen that series, we really start with life first. And that's what we want you to do. So the whole point of this episode is like, find your community, take the time off, and create those boundaries, because women felt bad for going last night too. Like, oh, I should be doing this, and I could be home with the kids, or I could be doing something with my spouse. And when we go back to time blocking, time management, and creating that time and space for you, your mind, body, soul, whatever it was that you enjoyed last night needed that. And that can be part of your time, Like, you can't be spread so thin that when it comes to you get like the end of it. Because when you put yourself first, every single relationship, we talk about this all the time, falls into place. It's a domino effect. So if you are good at the core, and you're giving yourself that time, and you have balance in your business, you have balance with yourself, your spouse, your kids, your coworkers, your family, your best friends are all going to have a healthy relationship with you, because you are good. But we do it backwards. So here's to creating more life work balance. I'm so excited.
Yes. It was great. I can't wait till next month. That's going to be fun.
I know. Well, thank you guys so much for watching us. Again, if you're watching live, thank you. If you're watching the replays, we're so excited. And if you're listening to us on our platforms, just tag us, do a snapshot of a picture, write a review. We love reviews. And if there's any topics you want to hear, last night I have a whole list of topics that people want to hear, but please let us know, guests that you want us to have on. We're all about redesigning the most important relationships in your life. So we're here every week for you, and we can't wait to see you again next week.
Yep.
Bye.